I have compiled the Visual Studio Code plugins that I use the most and I think are very useful for those who develop websites with HTML. With these plugins, you can speed up the work you do, the codes you write, and save time. First of all, let me show you where we can find these plugins. For plugin installation in VS Code, click on the icon that looks like a puzzle in the toolbox on the left. After clicking this icon, you can access the plugin you want to install by typing the name of the plugin in the panel that opens. When you search, you can download the plugin to your application and use it by clicking the install button in the options that appear. Or we can install the plugin on our computer by going to the detail page of the plugin and clicking the install button that appears here. While some plugins can be active immediately, some plugins may require the VS Code program to be restarted. If your plugin doesn't work immediately, this is the reason. I will show you the plugins I use in HTML pages, and if you like them, you can search for the names of these applications in the plugins panel to access them and install them on your computer. First of all, let me talk about the Emmet plugin. This is the first plugin I used. More precisely, in the text editors I used before using VS Code, I especially needed to download the Emmet application. But the Emmet application comes with Emmet technology in itself. Its main purpose is this. It is an application that allows you to quickly write the HTML tags you write while preparing HTML pages. For example, here you see the div ID container line and you see 3 h1 tags between these div tags. Now, I will show you how to write this with Emmet. Of course, Emmet is a technology with a wide range of features, but here I will show you how Emmet is basically used. For example, to use Emmet, I will write a div and assign an ID to the div. See, when I just write div, Emmet shows me the div tags in the description section immediately because it comes with VS Code. When I type div and press tab, it shows me the code that will appear. I press tab and it looks like this. Now let's continue. How can we set up the example structure we gave above here? I put a hash sign and the hash sign means ID. If I had put a dot here, it would have meant class. When I make hash container, look, as we can see in the example, it will give me an output as div ID container. Now I need to add header1 3 times under this container, under this div. So I'm going to add h1 3 times, so I'm typing h1 and times 3. I'm specifying how much I want to add. See, just by typing these lines, we can set it to output according to the example above. I press tab and the result is there. Another plugin I want to mention is the Auto Rename Tag plugin. Before this plugin, I had to do this. I was selecting the div tag, changing this div, and then switching to the closing code and changing that code again. There will be tens, maybe hundreds of lines in your project. But with this plugin, as soon as you select the opening tag and make changes to it, it automatically makes changes to the closing tag. For example, if I want to change the header1 tag here to P, the closing tag will automatically change to P. If I want to change it to span, it will automatically close with the span tag. Another plugin I can recommend is the HTML tag wrapper plugin. With this plugin, we can add a new tag outside the selected code. For example, let's assume that there is no div ID container. We need to add a div tag above and below these lines. Of course, we can write it this way manually, but there is a much more practical method. We can use the HTML tag wrapper plugin for this. Here is how to use it. First, we select the lines we want to add HTML code outside and press Ctrl I on the keyboard. As soon as we use this key combination, it adds a new tag outside the selected lines, and we can change these labels instantly. The Live Server plugin, which is a must for front-end developers, is a plugin that allows you to see the codes you write instantly in your browser. When you install Live Server, you will see a Go Live option at the bottom right of the program. When you press this button, the equivalent of this page will automatically open. But there is a benefit like this. Let's edit the environment right away. For example, you want to add a paragraph below this. I'm adding the paragraph and I'm adding lorem ipsum text as content. What do we do normally? We save the file. We go to the browser and from the browser, we click on the refresh button. Then we see what kind of change has happened. However, with this plugin, we can see these changes instantly in the browser just by clicking the save button. That is, just by saving the file. It will do all the operations we just did for us. I save the file and I can instantly see the changes made in my browser on the right side. Let me quickly add style. I save the file, and as you can see, I can automatically see the style we have given it on the right side quickly. I've shortened lorem ipsum a little bit. I'm saving the file. You can also save it with Ctrl S, and I can see the page again instantly on the right side. It's one of the plugins that I often use because it automatically shows the changes made in the browser. Another plugin is the Open in Browser plugin. The Open in Browser plugin allows you to automatically open the HTML page you are working on in your default browser. If you want to open it in other browsers, you can right-click on the file, select Open in Other Browsers, choose one of the browsers stored on your computer, and have the code appear in that browser. Of course, we can also use keyboard shortcuts to do this in a more practical way. We can quickly access these features with Alt-P or Shift-Alt-P key combinations. These are the plugins I use the most in my HTML themed project, and I find them successful. I hope it was useful. If you like this video, don't forget to like and subscribe. I'll see you in the next video.